Alright guys, welcome back to another Bleach Brave Souls video. Today, we're going to be going over why I believe Bleach Brave Souls is partially responsible for reviving Bleach. Now before we get into it guys, I just wanted to mention that this video isn't going to be scripted too much, so bear with me over here. If you do enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and without further ado, let's get into it. We're going to first go over the past of Bleach, and then we're going to be going on to the game side of Bleach. So Bleach was first signed and serialized with Shueisha on August 7th of 2001. Now, the creator of Bleach is Tite Kubo, just in case you didn't know that. But 3 years later from that date, on October 5th of 2004, the first anime episode aired live. That was pretty groundbreaking because nobody knew that this anime was actually going to catch on like fire. Now, the anime and manga were running simultaneously, side by side, with the manga having a head start of around 3 years. And this was to make sure that the anime has enough material to actually animate so that, it doesn't catch on to the manga too quickly and run out of material. So that's where filler came in, because every time the anime got too close to the manga, the anime would go under a filler hiatus and it'll let the manga have some space to grow on, and then it'll get back to the canon roots, just in case you didn't know that. And it actually became really popular, and it became part of the big three, one of the three biggest animes of its time in the actual history, in my opinion. And soon after that, of course, with the success of the show and the manga, came along games. And games with Bleach aren't too many, but those that are around are really cool, which they include Bleach Soul Carnival, and of course one of the most legendary games, Bleach Heat the Soul. All of them are really cool. Then of course in the 2010s came, and that was a really rough period for the Bleach fans, because we only got only one console game, and that being Bleach Soul Resurrection, which was in 2011. And if things couldn't get any worse for us, Bleach actually ended, the original anime ended in the following year of 2012, which was very devastating news, with 366 episodes. And we just realized that the 1,000-Year Blood War will not get animated at that time, which is really crushing. And little do we know that in 2016, Bleach would actually officially end its manga, which means that there would be no more content after that. So in the 2010s, it's definitely not a fond time for the Bleach fans. Now, I just do want to mention, before and while Bleach Brave Souls is a thing, even to this day, there are actually some other Bleach mobile games in particular, which include Bleach Mobile 3D, and of course Bleach Soul Bankai, Immortal Soul, and some other Bleach games, but those aren't really big and the player base isn't really big by any means. But the main attraction here was Bleach Brave Souls. And speaking of Bleach Brave Souls, in 2015, 3 years later after the anime ended, we got Bleach Brave Souls, and that was a really important part of Bleach's revival. So from 2016 till 2022, basically Bleach Brave Souls was the only source of content for us Bleach fans, and we got a lot of content from it. And simply, I think Bleach actually is one of the most important parts of Bleach returning. Now, I will get into that a little bit later, but first I just want to emphasize how important Bleach was to the community. Now, Bleach Brave Souls, actually in 2015, opened up a lot of doors because it gave creative leeway, and it created a stress-free environment for, relatively speaking, stress-free environment for Tite Kubo to actually create, but not in the spotlight, because of course the developers K-Lab would be there developing the game and all that good stuff. Now, Bleach Brave Souls gave us our firsts, a lot of our firsts. You might not even realize it if you're starting out now in 2020 or 2024 or anything like that, but we actually got some of the firsts, which include Yuha Baha's voice acting. In terms of the 1,000-Year Blood War, we got some of their very first. That was the first time we've ever heard their voices in Bleach Brave Souls. That was the very first. Even seeing them animated, it was insane, because we've seen these characters on paper and now we get to see them live. We get to see them move, we get to see them voice act, and it was really, really special because we've never heard how Yuha Baha actually sounds. We don't know. We never knew how Askin sounded like, and it was a really, really important step to just testing the waters and see how, if potentially at the time, hypothetically, if Bleach were to come back, how would these characters sound, how would they behave, the sound design of their powers and everything like that. Everything was tested in Bleach. Bleach Brave Souls, was the testing pool, and it is very, very insane. So the reception for Bleach Brave Souls was partly important to see whether this would be a successful run or not, and that is really, really cool. And another first that we did get to see is a lot of Volshindiks, right? We got to see them animated, but in more particular, the Soul Reaper side, we got to see Yamamoto's Bankai clearly voiced and animated for the very first time. You did not see that anywhere else officially, right? I want to stress this, officially. You could not find these things anywhere else but Bleach Brave Souls, and that is really crazy to think about. Now, besides getting some of our firsts from a game, whereby we should be getting them from an anime, Bleach Brave Souls actually gives us a lot of original content that no other Bleach medium would actually give us. In fact, Bleach Mobile 3D had to go even a step further because they couldn't come up with their own original content. They actually took some images and some ideas from Bleach Brave Souls and imparted it into their game. Not saying that they don't have any original ideas, but you know, just a testament to how good and how powerful Bleach Brave Souls is within the realm of the Bleach community itself. Now, the original content includes beyond Bankais and of course the originally designed characters such as the anniversary units and the artwork versions of the characters and things like that, and there's so much more, including the first animated Spirits Are Forever With You characters, the Can For Your Own World characters. They got first animated and voiced in Bleach Brave Souls, just to give you an idea, a scope of how big of a deal this actually is. People actually got hired to voice in this game. It's pretty insane, because if we were to get a Can For Your Own World anime or a Spirits Are Forever With You anime, we would have to go off based on what we got in Bleach Brave Souls. Oh, so I would think, right? So we get it, right? We know that we got some of our firsts in Bleach Brave Souls. We get it. But I want to move on now and just to go over the strength and the impact of Bleach Brave Souls on the Bleach community itself, because the strength in Bleach Brave Souls may not be in its gameplay, because some people believe that it's too chibi-like, or the characters are too small and everything is all small-like. Maybe it's not in the gameplay, but it's definitely number one in innovation and constant content. That's what I believe Bleach Brave Souls actually knocks out the park, because it gives us consistent content that we can expect twice or maybe even 3 times a month, and no other Bleach game has done that for the past 10 years. 10 years, a full decade of Bleach Brave Souls continuing to offer us constant updates, constant new content. It might not all be bangers. There were some misses in there, of course, and there are trials and tribulations during the way, but the fact that we've got constant updates, constant content, constant new characters, new designs, new animations, and all that stuff just goes to show that Bleach Brave Souls was actually carrying Bleach in every sense of the word between 2016 and when the anime was first announced that it would make a return. Now, of course, Bleach Brave Souls has seen better days, and yeah, its heavy lifting has drastically been reduced, right? We are not doing the heavy lifting anymore. The Bleach anime is back. We got a few more Bleach projects that are coming up, such as Bleach Soul Resonance, which is looking like a fire game, and of course we got the console game. After a decade, we finally have a console game, which is Bleach Rebirth of Souls. But I do think that Bleach Rebirth of Souls is not going to live too long. I wish I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I just feel like, judging on what Sparking Zero is going through right now, and that sort of fighter arena like games, and the, what was it, the Demon Slayer game, the Demon Slayer Chronicle something, the first one, didn't really go over so well. They may have the individual flaws, but I feel like the whole genre as a whole, the fighter like games, don't really last too long. So I don't think, even to this day, I believe that Bleach Brave Souls is the best Bleach game out there right now because of its longevity and as well as its constant new updates and new characters. Of course, we aren't pumping out new original content like every single month, but we are certainly doing way more than other Bleach projects. So it's just really insane to think about that Bleach Brave Souls has been doing so much for the community of Bleach as a whole. Even the Bleach creator Taito Kubo actually gave props to Bleach Brave Souls to partially being responsible or being partially the reason why Bleach made a comeback of some sort. So I could be mouthing the words wrong, but he did mention or alert to something of that effect, right? So yeah, I do think that Bleach right now is the best. Bleach Brave Souls right now is the best Bleach game out there. You guys can come at me at the comments if you like, but again, this is my opinion. And yeah, guys, I do think that's going to be it for the video. More of a relaxed discussion like video. I do hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, if you like seeing these more discussing like or talking like videos, make sure to leave a like and let me know down below on what other topics you want to see on the channel. Maybe we could just go into Bleach games in general and not only be stuck to Bleach Brave Souls, because we can see Bleach Brave Souls right now isn't in the best moments. So maybe going on to games like Rebirth of Souls and or maybe covering Bleach Soul Resonance would be pretty cool. Things like that, you guys can let me know down below with that like button. Thank you very much for sticking around till the end, guys. If you did enjoy it, again, please make sure to leave a like, comment down below, and as well as subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you very much for sticking around till the end, and I will see you all in the next one.